What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zebec today, ZBCN. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. I want to, before we get too far into the analysis today, I want to go over where my head's at with the price. Okay, first and foremost, we're very bullish. We are absurdly bullish. Zebec is going to go to new all-time highs. It's going to see prices all the way up at what is it, 4.5 cents, 7 cents, something in that area. That's my expectation. It's likely going to happen between now and the end of this year. Okay. But secondly, I think this scam wick here is literally a scam wick. I think that the way, if we're looking at on the daily time frame, how we should analyze this is that this is the low so far, if not the low of the move, not this. Okay. Why? Why do I think that, and why justifiably so? Because when the exchanges, all of the major exchanges at the same time in the world were shut down, this was the price they achieved. But when they came back online, when people were actually able to buy and sell and the order books were working, the price regulated back up here, right? So I think this was fake price action because it only happened in a non-existent scenario that was forced onto the into the reality of crypto, right? It's something that would have never happened if the exchanges were open. In other words, right? I don't accept it as real price. So with that being said, I think we have found the low. I think here we are. I think it's important to understand because if we take a low here to a high, typically with fibs, whenever you do this, where you rip right through to the 786, you come back to the 236, and then you're back down to the golden ratio, typically you expect extensions. It's very important to understand that this is fake price action and that the low for this day likely should have been more so over here. What we're doing right now is having our true first interaction with the golden ratio zone at 0033 to 00309. That's our first interaction with the zone. And we're having an immaculate reaction, aren't we? Most of this day is a wick. We've left a big old wick behind us, haven't we? We've actually moved up a good bit. If we're zooming in, we're looking at this on the 1 hour time frame. That was a proper reaction there. You sold off entirely, just immaculate. What do they call that? A flash crash, a fake out, whatever you want to call it. And here you are back at the base of this range. It's like that never even happened. But it did happen. There's immense buying pressure there, or at least a lack of selling pressure. There's certainly some selling pressure. The price got down there, but look at how much volume there was, man. I see a lot of buying happening at that low there, right? All this was false, right? This is a farce over here. This is the real deal. Absolutely, it's the real deal. We look at this here. Actually, let's look at it on the 1 hour time frame again. We look at this here with our indicators. The RSI is bearish, but we're starting to turn the tide a little bit, aren't we? Right? At these low points, at these various low points, right? Low here, lower low now. You had oversold, slightly oversold, and now you are not oversold at all. You actually have higher lows going through this with lower lows. That is bullish divergence, to be fair. Stochastics are bullish at the moment, to be fair, as well. And the MACD overall is bearish, but I think we're shaping up to cross above the zero, right? We've got these higher lows coming in direct line here. I think soon enough we will be crossing above the zero, which leads to bullish prospects as well. We're at a low point. We're clearly at a low point. This is a prime area to buy. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. We were not expecting that this low would come. I shouldn't say we weren't expecting it. We definitely gave a lot of thought to this idea, but the call was to move up, right? We outlined this call. We have, at various points since really since September, we've expected this zone. We've taken it out. We've put it back on. We've gone back and forth, but it was a zone to consider nonetheless. So the fact that we've moved down here and we've seen this, I hope that nobody's freaking out. There's no panicking. Even if we don't move up from here, even if we still move down here and dare I say even go lower than this low, I hope you understand that we're still in that golden ratio zone where it's a prime area to find support. And it's actually a really good area to buy, not to panic sell. But looking at this here, I'm under the impression that we're going to move higher rather than lower in a very short amount of time here. Looking at the 4 hour time frame, we do have bullish divergence on the MACD. Higher lows in the histogram here, lower lows in the price, quite obvious, right? Stochastics, or sorry, the RSI is neutral with a bearish tilt to it. Why is it neutral? Because you're not getting oversold, you're certainly not getting overbought for some time, right? You're neutral, but bearish leaning because you've been under the 50, right? So neutral price action with a bearish tilt, I would say that's fair, right? Pretty neutral with a bearish tilt, absolutely. Stochastics have bullish divergence as well. MACD has bullish divergence on the 1 hour time frame. We have bullish divergence on the RSI. I very much do believe that we're at a low point here. I don't believe that we go lower than that low. I think that's it, and that we're going to recover from here. Looking at the daily time frame here, on the RSI, depending on how you close today, because there's still a lot of time. 9 hours 26 minutes left. We're down 3.4%. Depending on how you close the day, you could close here on the RSI, or if you close the day green, you might actually close with the bounce right here off the 40. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. Do we have reasons to believe that you'll move up by the end? I mean, maybe you will. Maybe you could close today green, and if you do, that'd be a nice bounce actually right off your 40 area. To be completely fair, you would bounce like right there at 38. But even if you bounce here, you found support at this area on the RSI plenty of times between the 40 and the 30. It's perfect. It's totally fine. The stochastics are a little bit bearish at the moment, if we're being fair. If we're being fair, the stochastics actually might be the best argument that we have for the bearish case. However, you have found support here once before, and that led to overbought zone territory afterwards. And back here, actually, you're right at an area. Typically with the stochastics, especially on the daily time frame here, I'd have no problem calling for you to go lower. And I was about to. I was literally about to, actually. I was about to contradict all the bullish aspects that we've had so far, because this is a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal. Typically, you would go to the oversold zone, typically. But apparently, you like to find support here. That doesn't mean that you will. There's plenty of instances where you didn't, right? There's plenty of them where you didn't. But the fact that you have shown support here, especially recently, gives me a little hope, right? You've actually even found support back at that same area, resistance here before. So maybe we do find support right here as well. And then the daily RSI being in an area of support as well. The histograms being lower than we've seen really since September or August of this year, and the stochastics, or sorry, the oscillators having a lower low here. I guess we do have a lower low there as well. To be fair, the MACD actually does look bearish, but the MACD is less reliable when you're moving sideways, and we've been moving sideways for quite some time. So to be fair, that's like as soon as you got bullish here, you're at the top. As soon as you got bullish here, you're at the top. As soon as you got bearish here, you're at the bottom. So it's less reliable, actually. So the fact that we look bearish here might be an indication that it is a bullish implication for the near-term price action. I do believe that we're going to move higher, ultimately. If we move lower, again, where are we going to go from a low here to a high there? If we move lower from here, I would think that 00309 is the lowest that we go. I doubt that we get below there, but that's an immaculate reaction, like quite literally right off the golden ratio zone. It's uncanny. So I think that we're going to have a proper positive reaction from this. When you do get above 00475, let's just say 0046. Sorry, 00476 or 0048, one of those numbers there. If we get above this area on a daily closing basis, not only do we validate the low, but we validate the idea that we're actually going to go up and see new all-time highs. And when we do see new all-time highs, which will be sooner than expected, I'm sure for the average person, any day, any week now, certainly by the end of this, I think by the end of November, we will see new all-time highs. 0097 and 1.4 cents, something in this area, is an intended first target zone. And then once we break above 1.4 cents, the next target zone is 1.9 cents to about 4.4 cents. You get above 4.4 cents, and it's very improbable that you break above 7.7 cents, but you would likely stop somewhere in this zone here. Ultimately, and again, I'm labeling all these out because I don't assume that you're just going to move in a straight line all the way up to the area that I'm expecting. Right? I expect that you're going to go up here. But there will be stopping points along the way. You'll find resistance here, consolidate, move up, consolidate, whatever, and continue to rally. The way that I have it drawn here, you'd be at these targets by March. I don't think it's going to take that long. I think it's going to be a lot quicker. I really do think that we'll be up at 4.4 cents or more by the end of the year, but we're on the weekly time frame, so it's kind of hard to draw these consolidation phases on the in-between, right? I think when we look back at this, whenever we look back at this, we're going to look at this like it was a straight line moving up. But again, just like this back here, when we zoom in and we look at the daily time frame, it was not a straight line, was it? There were moments where we consolidated, where we saw some volatility, here. There were moments where we shook out a little bit, right? So again, the idea being that we probably, when we break out, we'll probably rapidly approach this area, consolidate a little bit, do our thing, and then continue. We break out here, we might consolidate here, you never know, and then boom, before you know it, the way that I have it drawn now, this is actually fully appropriate, completely appropriate for a 4.5 cent to a 7.7 cent price by the end of this year. And I don't think that that's at a pace that we can't see. We've seen this kind of pace before. We could certainly see it happen again. I got nothing else, guys. I'm rambling at this point, so I'm going to end it there. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.